Hey everybody, Dr. Sanderson, and welcome to Unit 1 of our course, where we're going to look at a general overview of human resources and sports organizations. As you may have seen from my background, I worked in human resources for over 10 years, so I'm really excited to get into this course and talk about how HR plays out in sport organizations. And it really plays a central role because HR is all about managing people, and every sports organization has a lot of people that you have to manage and take care of. So, and some things we'll talk about in this unit include just providing an introduction to the kinds of things that human resources professionals do. So, for example, they're involved in the hiring of people. That includes posting jobs, screening applicants, working with managers and supervisors on which candidate is going to be selected, and then getting that person acclimated to the organization. We sometimes call that onboarding, but they make sure the person gets all their new hire paperwork done, their tax forms, and gets trained to kind of the culture of the organization and what the organization expects. A big part of HR that we'll talk about in this course really is that employment law and managing risk for the organization are huge. So we live in a very litigious society. So as an HR person, you have to really make sure that you're protecting the organization from lawsuits. And that includes developing really strong policies that outline expectations for behavior and consequences, so that when, for example, someone doesn't come to work, you have grounds to hold them accountable and discipline them. You also have to make sure that your managers and your supervisors are not doing things like sexual harassment that would get the organization in trouble. So you're responsible to kind of monitor those situations as well. One thing I will tell you is that as an HR person, your loyalty is to the company, not to an employee. So even if you like the manager, even if you like the employee, if they are doing something wrong, it doesn't matter whether they're the president or the receptionist. You need to make sure that those issues get addressed. And one thing we'll look at in the next unit that kind of speaks to that is the issues that occurred with the Dallas Mavericks, where they had a pretty rampant culture of sexual harassment that involved some pretty senior level employees. So we'll also then look at planning. So how do you plan for how many people you're going to need to hire? So, if you are the Alliance for American Football and you just started a new football league, you needed a plan to figure out how many employees you're going to need to hire. The XFL is starting next year. They will need to have strategic plans about how many people they're going to hire and where they're going to get that from, or where they're going to get them from. And then you also have to be aware of, in your strategic planning, you also have to be aware of the environment. So what's going on inside the organization? What are our resources? What kind of talent do we have in the organization? What really sets us apart from our competitors? You also have to look at the political and social environment. How are things going on in society, in the country? How does that impact what we do? And you might say, well, why would a sports organization even care about what's going on? Well, because it can influence your operation. So, for example, when President Obama passed the Affordable Care Act, that influenced sports organizations because now you had to make sure you were in compliance with that law. So technology is another thing that you have to be aware of, and how is technology influencing the organization? Can we use technology to maybe recruit more people because they may not necessarily need to be on site? We could have people out of state or even out of the country who work for us because technology really can allow you to work from anywhere now. So you kind of look at those factors. You come up with goals that are specific and measurable and achievable, and then how you're going to attain them. So if your goal is to lower costs or to lower overtime, you've got to figure out how you're going to be able to meet those goals. So in this unit, we'll just kind of look at a general overview to HR, the field, and some things that these individuals do in sport organizations. You'll have an introductory discussion forum post that you'll need to complete in this unit, as well as a written paper on benchmarking. And benchmarking is about who are the organizations in our field that we are aspiring to be like. So who are the organizations that really set the bar that everybody else is trying to get to. So I'm going to ask you to do that for several different sports leagues and make a case for why this organization is seen as the one everybody else is trying to get to. So I'm curious and excited to see who you come up with there. Definitely please let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon.